This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creatives to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next? Oh man, we're back in the white room. Shouts to my man 3. Shouts to the classes of 2003 and 2004 of Booker T. Washington High School and the High School for Engineering Professions. Happy birthday to Still Visionary Inc. Let's go.
Like 95.
Wildin' in my wallies. Mo will give you
Hey, you stand jamming. I'm looking at this
the balls. They're all like that. I saw the signs like Ace of Spades, easy to crack it. Cheers to the money guys. The Willie. Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas. On a windy Saturday morning, we bring you greetings from the White Room. Welcome back to the 89th edition, the 89th episode of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. This is a creative story, and it's good to be back in the White Room. It's good to be back. Quick turnaround on the podcast. Fam, before we get started with the episode, let's introduce our social media handles.
Okay.
So we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point.
Oh, so you waiting on me? Okay.
Go ahead.
Just call me Prince with no T, so J-U-S. Call me Prince.
Okay.
Keep it simple.
Okay.
No spaces, no nothing in between.
Okay.
Just call me Prince. You'll see me.
Okay. And my name is John Ross Dike the First, and you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike and still_visionary. If you would, connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. Directly in front of you and myself, I have all the t-shirts that I sell on my website and out the trunk of my car. And you can shop stillvisionary.com/merch.
Telling the truth about selling them out of the trunk of his car, I got 2.
No doubt. You got 2 from the old company.
Long time ago, yeah. So facts.
Cheers.
It's facts. Man, I've been waiting to get to this. I've been needing it all day.
Listen, man, I want to start here with some gratitude. I want to start here with some gratitude, man. I want to tell you thank you for giving me the opportunity to produce, right? To do what I love to do, and to get paid doing what I love to do. I appreciate you so much, man, because that opportunity doesn't come too often, right? Yeah. And so I just want to take the time to give you your flowers, and we'll get into a lot more of what you got going on in a second.
It's funny you just said that.
Go ahead.
My cousin Cassie Cassandra.
Okay.
I love you. Saying your name. She said that to me 2 days ago in a text message.
Right.
Because we were talking about, love and family, and appreciating your family members while you're here, and encouraging them.
Right.
And she said something to me, and she was just like, yeah. She said something that was real encouraging to me because she missed the show.
Right.
And then I was just like, nah, it's no big deal. I'm gonna have some more. And she was just like, nah, we're just trying to give you your flowers while you're here.
Right.
And then that just hit me when you just said that.
Right.
So just like,
Right. Let me slide this back a little bit.
Go ahead.
And I think it's important to say that because, listen, people make it on the backs of other people. You know what I'm saying? Nobody comes into the game solo and does it completely by themselves, man. And, I've been doing production for a while, and this is not my first go, but in my first go, it took me some time to get acclimated. Right. And I thought that because I had been doing it for a while, and that I'd acted and recorded my own self acting and doing sort of things like that, that when I started my new company, it would come as easy. Mm-hmm. But of course, in this journey, everything takes time. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because me and my man were talking today, and we were talking about a guy, how MCs spend their lifetime trying to make it to that level, right, where they can get that residual money from, what Nipsey called, God bless the dead, mailbox money, right? Yeah. And he was saying, this guy, and I don't want to put anybody out there, but he hadn't been rapping. In fact, Wikipedia had put on his profile that he had no musical experience, and he ended up on a feature with a top hip hop artist, right? And so everybody's journey is different, man. But
that's a fact, because this is just a quick similarity. Jennifer Hudson.
Right.
She got all those awards, didn't release one album.
Right.
She beat Beyonce probably that year over one song.
Right.
Everybody's journey is different.
No doubt. And so in mine, I want to just tell you thank you. The only thing that I regret is that the turnaround time to get you. The turnaround time to get you.
To me, they're like, man, where's the stuff at? Like, I'm gonna get to you when I get to you.
Listen, and as we move forward, my turnaround time will be a lot better. But I can't give you roses and not also say where I could be better at, right? And so again, I just appreciate you, man. I think that the differences between the shows was night and day.
No, it was.
Right. And we'll get to a couple of clips of the show later on in the episode, man. But let's start here. If you could define yourself with one word, what would that word be?
Myself with one word. A chameleon. I describe myself as a chameleon.
Okay.
Often. I actually see myself as someone that adapts and blends in under certain circumstances and certain situations. Like, life is going to throw curveballs at anybody, anywhere. And that fortitude to just dig in and keep going, to just say, hey, well, this is just temporary, move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a chameleon. You walk into a new environment, a new job, and doing corporate America for a little bit. I had to do some training for some companies, Google, Duracell, certain ones, and sometimes when you walk into the room, you're automatically a target because they're waiting for you to say something. They're waiting for your response. They're waiting for you to say something that they can use against you.
Right.
So I've often had that, mindset of you have to adapt. You can't fold.
Right.
Whatever happens, you got to keep going. And then I had a brother that passed away.
Rest in peace.
Thank you, Kevin. And he used to always, tell me how hard-headed I was. And, me back then, I'm not listening, and more and more, as I go through life now, I hear him. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I'll be in my car, and I'll be like, man, Kevin, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot going on in somebody's mind. You just never know until you actually just pick the brain, like how you doing right now.
Right.
So, a chameleon. If I want to describe myself in one word, a chameleon.
I think it's important that when people give their attention to something for a span of time, that they receive or take something away from it. So with that being said, I in devising how I want to structure the podcast and get it to be more of a well-rounded show, I looked at parts and I looked at the stats on YouTube and SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Music, and looked at some of my stats on my website, right? And people's attention span is so short, so you get them in the early beginnings, and then they start to fade. So if you have an hour-long show, some people average about 15 to 20 minutes, right? So I start to say, listen, maybe if I could catch them early on, it would entice them to say, so I came up with this segment. What do you think that people should take from our conversation today?
From our conversation, you're gonna hear different perspectives, but it doesn't matter like where you are in life. You can't just say I can't. You know, you have to. There's always gonna be a solution to the problem. Maybe it might not be in your comfort zone.
Right.
It might not be in your lane, but you'll get a solution some way somehow to get the result that you need. Now you have to be realistic on your goals. You have to be logical.
Right.
But things are possible.
Right.
Just like this project. You don't mind if I get into it?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
With the comedy shows, slab comedy. So the whole story behind that, you met my brother-in-law Slab.
Right.
So funny thing about Slab, we met in church.
Okay.
Long time ago.
Right.
His older brother and my older sister ended up getting married. They hooked up. So now we're brother-in-laws.
Okay. Okay.
We always kind of clowned together, sat in the back, talked about people. We didn't ever think that we would actually go into business together. So what happened, I did some event planning for Google a while back. And that gave me a lot of, corporate experience when it came to, doing event planning on a large scale.
Right.
And, he's been in comedy for a while. And, he asked me, he was just like, man, I'm trying to get some shows going.
Right.
And, I had the time to just, kind of brainstorm, and I just started calling up a few favors, calling up a few peoples, and next thing you know, I even called you, and I just kind of just threw everything together like a soup and a gumbo.
Yeah.
And, the first show, that went how it went, and then I, did like what I would call a needs assessment, which is going to be looking at, what went right, what went wrong,
Right.
what can be improved on.
Right.
And for the next show, you saw the difference.
Right.
So
Definitely.
went out and found some comics, went to different clubs, and hey, let me get you on stage.
Right.
We're trying to work for something, do something different.
Right.
And
Did
so you
that
saw
did that come with a price tag? And we don't have to get specific. I just want to know.
Now I'm running a company, so everything that I do, everybody is an independent contractor. So whenever you come to a Just Call Me Prince
event,
everybody's gonna be taken care of. Even we don't like, even if we're working with a dirt cheap budget.
Yeah.
I want to say, hey, you're worth it. You're worth what you're doing. Thank you for what you're doing. Even if I'm giving you $25, $30.
Right.
It was one comic, Dylan, at one of my last shows, real good dude.
Right.
And his fee was so cheap, that I went to him after the show, after his set, and I was just like, man, that's a too low of a price for you. You're worth way more than that.
Right.
So I gave him an extra little something.
Yeah.
At the bar.
Right.
Just because, man, you're worth that. It's about encouraging our black people at the same time. I'm not rich. I don't have it all. But at the same time, God blessed me to be able to do something to, reach out and give a gift to somebody else.
No doubt.
And at this time, we need laughter.
Right.
And the reason I started this company was to have an avenue, for people to, give something back to the world.
Right.
And that Def Jam feel is what I, kind of felt. And it's not just me; it's my bro.
Right.
I kind of like try to take a lot of the credit, but he does a lot, in this too.
Yeah.
So, the company itself, man, it's just an engine that I just turned on, and it's just starting to go. And
right.
I got the venue owner to start buying into it, and she's actually giving her 2 cents every now and then, and hey, you can do this, this, and this, set up this, this, and this, and people are starting to work together. It's starting to just come together, and so people are actually I'm going out in the city and just recruiting people, but people are actually reaching out to me now, like,
facts.
Hey, can I get on your platform? I didn't even think this was going to even, turn into this.
Right.
But it was the preparation and the marketing that went into it to actually build it to a certain level. So now I can actually have, something to actually work on the side.
Right.
Like, you got your regular stuff you do during the day. I do my auditing or whatever I do during the day, but at the same time, this is gonna be something maybe like every once a few months I can have my friends or people, just strangers, come together. We all sit and enjoy some good laughs, entertainment, and everybody like enjoyed the show. I mean, even one of the comics tried to joke on you.
Yeah,
with the
couple
camera.
of them.
Yeah, so but it was all kind of just clean fun. I mean, it's a raw environment, but this actually it's something that I'm kind of going with the flow, man. I don't really know.
Right.
Like I have I'm starting doing event planning. I'm doing the management side. I got a sports analytics department also.
Right.
It's me and 3 other guys, a guy named Frederick, a guy named Sean, another guy named Garrett, that I'm real good buddies with. We do sports analytics. So we've been working on a few little podcasts for NFL, telling people, what to look out for. And, if you're like into fantasy and stuff like that, that's what that's helpful for. But just kind of taking this and growing with it. I'm going to do a fashion line also. My brother's working on a line also. And I wanted to get into a wine brand. That's one thing I'm thinking about future-wise, is getting into wine.
Right.
I'm going to wait till the money starts coming in, and then that'll be something I'll, jump into later. But wine is something that I want to jump into next.
One of my favorite quotes all time, and it's really not a quote, it's a lyric that I kind of recite when I'm asked why I'm doing something, is that Nas said on the Lost Tapes, "No idea is original.
Right.
There's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done." And then I would later come to find out that that's biblical, right? And so one thing that I love about the comedy shows is that people have done comedy shows before. In fact, on this one podcast that I produce outside of mine and others, she does a laughs and lyrics show, right? But the one thing I like about your show is that you kind of have appointed yourself as somebody, like you said, a chameleon who just fades into the crowd, right? And you're not one of those type of people that like to be on the mic all the time. You've appointed somebody to do that, so you know your name is on the flyer, your name is on the event, and then at the end you kind of come and close it out. So it's like this sandwich, right, where you get the bun. You're the bun on both sides, right? And I really like that because you're not busy trying to be the guy who created the event and the guy who's trying to talk in the event and make it all about me. Right. And so I really admire that. I really like that. And I almost like your what's the word I'm looking for? Your noviceness on the mic. Like it's almost like when you speak, you're just like, all right, let me get this over with. I don't want to be up here too long.
I don't want to hold you too long.
Yeah, I don't want to hold you too long. So here it is. I appreciate you coming out. Get ready for the next show. Good night. Yeah. And when I saw you do that in the first one, and then you did it again in the second one, I was like, okay. Well, he it's already a long show, and Prince ain't trying to get us to he ain't trying to have us stay here another 30, 40 minutes, right? So
I'm just glad y'all
he's
came
in and
out.
out.
I'm just glad y'all came out and enjoyed the show, man.
It's difficult, man, and I'm you saying that it's difficult to coerce or to persuade people to support you in that endeavor, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if it's something that is totally left field, like you know what I mean. I can remember in 2009 when I was at U of H, and I was sitting in my dad's office at work, and I was saying to myself, "Listen, what can I do extra? I mean, I know I'm an artist. I'm not made for the office work. What can I do?
That hunger hustle.
Yeah. I'm like, what can I do extra? And this is when I be on iTunes and I say, okay, this new album came out. I be listening to everything.
Yeah.
while I'm supposed to be at work, I listen to 2 or 3, 4 albums a day, right?
I used to run into you at U of H because you worked behind the desk.
Yeah.
There was a little chick I knew.
Oh, hold on, relax. Here you go. And so,
But yeah, I remember you was at the desk.
I organized a talent show with my roommates, and we found talent like you did, right? And we put a prize on it so people would bring their best A game, right? I think the first prize might have been like $500 or something like that. Second prize $250.
Y'all's personal money?
Yeah. And this is when I wanted to music manage. Right. So I started a whole record label, what I thought was a record label.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. I started a whole record label, and but my mind has always been like that. You know what I'm saying? My mind has always been outside the box, right? And so just gathering people and convincing people to come through. Of course, it was a U of H event, so we had a backing. The NAACP backed us, and so they brought the numbers, and we brought the talent, and it turned out to be a great show. But in doing that, what were the obstacles that you saw in what were the obstacles that you saw in creating the first show?
In the first show, so behind the scenes, what people don't know is that I had a full show scheduled.
Right.
I had 3 no-call, no-shows. So I had to kind of change how I formatted, and handled certain things, and my brother as well. But I think we had a performance that didn't happen. We had a comic that didn't show. We had 2 other comics that didn't come.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had to change it out and reach out to people that were actually looking at it as a profession.
Right.
Independent contractor, you're showing up to work.
Right.
So when I found some actual comics, and that's why this show was actually different. You actually felt like you were at a comedy show.
Right.
Versus just, at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, this actually, I felt, when I was looking at people laughing, I was just standing in the back and I was just kind of observing. Just like, wow, okay. I can hear these people. I can hear them. And it's not forced. It was natural.
Right.
It was just, from the first show, I think I probably had maybe 8, 9 people.
Mm-hmm.
This last one maybe had 25, 30, maybe.
Right.
So who's to know what the next ones are gonna be?
Right.
And just gonna keep growing it and growing it and growing it.
Right.
So just ride the wave, man. That's what I'm gonna do.
What would you say your ultimate goal is with the show?
With the show, I want to be able to have this company on the level of where you understand, what do they call it? Consumer awareness, customer awareness,
right?
Brand awareness, competitive advantage. Boom. I want to have a competitive advantage against other clubs like Improv. This is just one itty bitty portion. But if I can get this to grow, and then, the management part, this slab comedy is just one project.
Right.
It's just one. We're going to have more coming down the lane because I have a mixture of a love of music, and the comedy is more my brother's thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I've learned and grasped and actually welcomed that comedy side. Just been going and meeting these different people, and it's just been like, okay, well, let me try to see how I can incorporate this into the brand.
Right.
And that's how all of this has been just kind of coming together.
Right.
So you'll see the next show is going to be even better.
Right.
I got
in December, right?
December 6th.
Okay.
December 6th at Showtime Bar and Lounge.
Okay. North side stuff.
Right at Greens Point. You'll be safe. Don't worry about it. Don't listen to all the rumors. Some of them are true.
Gunpoint.
But you'll be all right.
No doubt.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and showcase a clip, right?
Which one do you have? I mean, I know you got everything. So
You know what? Let's surprise them. I'm not going. We'll come back. Okay. I'm not going to say no names. I just want to surprise them.
Okay.
This is a clip from the show, Houston, Texas. I want to say before we go to the clip, I want to say again, shouts to the classes of 2003 and 2004 at Booker T. Washington High School and the High School for Engineering Professions. You got 2 alums here. We're sitting here on the What's Next podcast. This is episode number 89, and we're getting ready to check a clip from the Just Call Me Prince's Slab. What was the joint?
Just Call Me Prince presents a slab comedy show.
Just Call Me Prince presents a slab comedy show. Peace and blessings.
To the Booker T. Washington alumni, you all are doing some great things out there.
No doubt.
Making some great moves.
No
creative
doubt.
minds. Keep doing what you all are doing.
No doubt. We'll be right back, Houston, Texas. Peace and blessings.
I don't know if y'all know that Lion King is a black story. Several officers dead in the gang violence. It was a rundown in the streets. And I remember it was a rundown, you know. Nigga got set up by his brother, you know what I'm saying? That's some nigga shit, though. Brother named what? Small. You know his mama ain't that nigga Small. Mufasa, Simba, Small. Run on the hyenas. He ran out, you know what I'm saying? Found 2 niggas named Timon and Pumbaa, and they make the most niggas names in the world. Timon and Pumbaa. Go on Facebook right now, see a nigga named Timon Jackson, born in 97. I'm having fun tonight, goddamn. Y'all having fun tonight?
Yeah!
Hey, come in the back. Hey, I'm up here. Hey, Jay Brick, hey. LeAndre, just, hey, all that motherfucking name, nigga, I need to fuck all that shit. Hey, woo! You ain't supposed to say shit, did your mama say shit? Hey. She give you that look, like, hey, nigga, I'm gonna fuck you up in this grocery store. Cause you got to speak to the guard. Don't ask for nothing. You don't want nothing. And don't ask for shit. Beat the fuck out you niggas. What I need you to shut the fuck up.
Okay.
JR, how you doing, baby? You alright? I think about that little ass camera and hear that shit crazy enough. That nigga brought a motherfucking cell phone camera in the motherfucking building. Boy, you crazy as hell, boy.
You gotta pick her up first. She got a whole goddamn job.
You know what? That nigga first job is this shit, man. That's crazy as fuck. Nigga, goddamn.
Round of applause. Round of applause for I'm sorry, let me turn our headphones up. Round of applause.
Oh, I got you. I'm here.
For that clip. So you've successfully done 2 shows. Of the 2 shows, who was your favorite comic?
I can't professionally say that, but like just going down memory lane, looking at some of this footage, because I was just very impressed. Like, applause to your work, because you know the angles and everything you're doing. That's very very good. I'm looking at everything kind of coming together. So
right.
I just can't wait to release this and see how people enjoy
right.
this. So
right.
But the favorite comic.
Who can you see? And you know what? Maybe that's I don't know.
This is the thing.
People take
everybody
things.
that I went out and handpicked.
Right.
I added them in the show for a reason, because I felt that they were different.
Right.
Even like Dylan, he was different.
Right. You talking about the kid that was like, I'm a military brat.
Dylan was the first guy
with the Chase shirt on.
Yeah, the light skinned dude.
The guy that was
the second show.
No,
the first dude was Jay Sean. Then Dylan went. And then after him, it was
Sherelle. Yeah.
Sherelle Smith.
So you talking about the guy that was like, I don't really. People be saying that I sound like I'm from here, and I'm from. Yeah.
He was pretty good, and like all of those. There was a guy that I met, Ken Mills, and I met him through the guy, the first comic that you saw that did the Too Short bit, Charles C. Banks, from the first show. He actually, hooked me up with Ken and was just like, hey, I know somebody that's doing some more shows on the other side of town. Why don't you check them out?
Right.
So that's when I got in contact with Ken and, got in contact with him and I reached out to some of these comics and, man, this has been an amazing experience.
Right.
Everybody's different. Like even like Dylan, he was good. Mike Worm, he lit that stage on fire. And that's the thing, like, he's a wheelchair comic, so a lot of people didn't expect him to kill it like that. And I wanted to add him in there because he's so different than what people are used to.
Right.
And the uniqueness of this show is what made me like want to keep going, because you have those days where you're like, man, I don't want to do this no more.
Right.
What am I doing this for?
Right.
But when you actually got to sit and look around and you see, hey, this actually made an effect. I'm looking at how these people were, so proud of what they
Right.
did.
Right.
And I was just like, wow, okay. I can see where this can go.
Right.
So, favorite comic?
Listen, your joint, I don't mean to cut you off. Your joint was packed this go round.
Yeah.
It was packed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about all the tables were packed when they played the Houston Classics. People were in there grooving, Southside, and it was a lovely event. Lovely event.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What were you about to say?
Favorite comic? I like them all.
I'm gonna tell you, I liked Young Simba. I liked him.
Ben
He was
Jackson,
funny.
That's a funny
He was funny.
dude.
He was funny.
And I got him from Third Ward.
Yeah.
There was a place called the Library on Scott.
Yeah. I know exactly what it is. This is right by the crib.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and it was shout out.
You
to
talking
Ken
about
Mills.
the wine
library,
wine and lounge,
Yeah.
right off of Scott, yeah.
They still, they still do events all the time.
Yeah, I did my podcast there once, the first podcast there.
Okay.
Her name was Brandy, or no, it's damn.
Yeah, they still do events.
Yeah. It's been not shot well, but it was something. Brandy, I don't know. Go ahead.
Everybody's unique, and I like each of them differently for a different reason. Like even Sherelle, she was, she really represented it for the ladies, and it's really hard to find like the ladies that can hold it down and be on a card, with other strong comics too. And she pretty much kind of stole the show in her moments,
Right.
And Young Simba, Ben, Mike Worm, and then Dylan, Jay Sean. I'm giving everybody their credits.
Slab,
everybody.
I love the way Slab utilized the DJ to almost tell a story.
Yeah, Slab is more of a storytelling comic. If you start to get deeper and deeper into him, he's more of a storyteller to where he's gonna, go into more details of what's going on to the world. Like the first episode, he hit on the George Floyd incidents, what's going on. This last one, I still got to go back over it more just to see more of what's going on. But he's gonna make you think. He's gonna say something that's gonna be like, okay, world, this is, we having fun right now. Let's take a little time to think, and then let's get back to having fun.
Right. So, the funniest thing, and when he sees this, I can hear him talking, and everybody's set.
Yeah.
Record. He was running his mouth in everybody's set, and when he got up there to talk, he was like, Prince, 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 Prince.
Yep. Yep.
He didn't want nobody talking when he was in his set, but he was running his mouth on other people's set. And I can hear him, and I was just like, dude, like, y'all be quiet back there so we can hear these
Short,
comics.
Loud and black. That's exactly what he is. That's his name. Short, loud, and black. Slab. So
What song's on your mind, man?
right now, I've been going through FKJ. FKJ has like a smooth sound. Somebody else, one of my good friends, Fred, put me on FKJ, and they have like a soul jazz type of sound.
Okay.
And I'm big on R&B, big on I like rap, certain rap. I like rap that makes sense.
Right.
Davies, I jam Davies a lot.
Okay.
But if I could pick one song, it'll probably be "Losing My Way" by FKJ. It just has like a smooth ride, smooth feel, and you know, music has always been an escape from reality. So you would put your headphones on and kind of zone off and just listen to whoever you were listening to and just envision what they're saying. And that's always been like just a love of music. So music that can take you somewhere and take you to a place, that's something that I always love. And with these slab comedy shows, it was a mixture of music and comedy. That's why you're always going to see a music artist because I was inspired by Master P's I Got the Hookup comedy tour.
Right.
And it was A.J. Johnson was the host, and Todrick Branch, my good friend Todrick Branch, T. Branch, was the host.
Shout out to him. T Branch 84 on Instagram.
He reminds me when he's feeling good and he's joking and clowning on everybody, he reminds me of that energy.
Right.
So when I always would kind of hear and I start hitting him up like, man, you think about, trying to host this show. And, it's not easy for somebody to jump into that.
Right.
T. Branch was ready. He was just like, hey, man, I'm with you.
Right.
And, even with you, I hit you up and I was just like, man, I'm doing this event. And I know, you've done filming in the past, so this is something different. I'm just starting it off. And, can you come through and help me out? And,
Right down. Yeah, no doubt, for sure.
We've gotten to this point. This is the second one done.
Yeah.
Working on number 3. I got
For sure.
show December 6th.
For sure.
It's going to be 2021 is going to be where it actually gets serious.
Right.
Right now we got the training wheels going.
Right.
Figuring out, the ins and outs and
Right.
getting everybody set up.
Right.
2021 is going to make some real noise.
So for me, the song that's on my mind, listen, I'm a big independent artist. I love that come up. I love that grind. And this song I played earlier while we were setting up, this song right here, my man, it's not on my mind, but my man Echo Remix wrote this song. It's called You, right? But every Friday he drops new music.
He's going to be good before the industry get a hold of him.
Yeah.
I said.
Every Friday he drops new music, and the record he dropped last week was called Committed, featuring Ebony Ray, and I played the hell out of that record in episode 88 of my podcast. Let me
check that out.
This name is every Friday he drops a new record, right? And this Friday he dropped a record called Because of You, right? And that's on my mind. And this thing of ours, it's it's off of MMG, the second Maybach Music compilation CD featuring Nas, Rick Ross, and Wale. This thing of ours.
You know what? Now that you mentioned that song, I do have one.
Go ahead.
And I was jamming it maybe 2-3 days ago.
What's that?
Rick Ross, Andre 3016.
Yeah. Even though Andre 3000's verse wasn't a 16.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it was Andre 3000. You've been waiting decades, to hear him, and
Yeah.
I mean, he made it worth it. So
Right.
I enjoyed really hearing. I'm waiting on Outkast. If Outkast can bring out something,
Yeah.
I would. We're going through a lot of history repeating itself. We're seeing a lot of these artists that have basically ran good in the late '90s. They're coming back and resurging. So Busta Rhymes, he's coming out with something. Nas, of course, came out with something.
The greatest.
I got to see Nas and Mary J. Blige when they came to Houston.
Right.
I guess the money treats you good because they look exactly the same. Very exactly. Mary J., Nas, they both look exactly the same.
Yeah.
So, but it was a good show.
Listen, man, today is October the 24th. I think we're officially in Scorpio season. Today is October the 24th, 2020, and we have 68 days left in the 2020 year. What do you hope to attain in 68 days?
In 68 days. Wow, that's a good question. Because 68 days seems like a lot of time, but in actuality, it's not. We're both at an age to where we know, time it can be for you, but it can also be against you. So, I don't really see as, you don't really have time to waste. So, 68 days, man. And I don't know, man. It's
There's something you got to think about, definitely.
This has been going a lot further than I expected.
Right.
Because I didn't think this was going to even make that much of an impact.
Right.
And, I'm anxious to see how this is going to go. I want to see, if I can get some more operations going, besides just the comedy shows.
Right.
I want to get a few more operations going.
Right.
So, I'm still working on that. Let me give you a continuation on that,
Okay.
that answer, because 68 days, like, my mind calculates different, and
Right.
that's, 2 months?
Right.
So I know that's not a lot of time, but at the same time, it's a lot of time for you to prepare for what's going to be coming in for the next year. So I'm kind of thinking different when you ask me that.
In 89 episodes now of this podcast, you're the first person that has answered that question like that. Because, I asked the question based off of people's drive and what they have scheduled for themselves to accomplish, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you really don't know because it's just so many things that you want, and you almost have to narrow your focus down to that one thing, and it's hard to do, right?
And you do have to face the objections. Like, I remember you asked me, maybe it was earlier today, like, what were some of the obstacles you faced?
Right.
So sometimes you have to plan ahead of those obstacles. Like,
right.
Okay, this is going to happen, this might happen, this might happen. So that way you don't break down when you're faced with the obstacle and you keep it going. But I didn't want to cut you off,
No. What's that sound?
That was my phone.
I'm about to say.
I got to put this on silent.
So, how much, so I like the fact that, you said something earlier. You said that you're running a business, right? Mm-hmm. And everybody will be fully compensated for their time, for their talent. I like the fact that you said that because I'm from the school, and my homegirl. Shouts to my homegirl Takara Taylor, T. Melly. She told me that if you love something, you'll do it for free, right? And this is the same sentiment that I expressed in episode 88. I've spent a lot of time doing a lot of things for free, right? But for the love. How much of your 9 to 5 has propelled you in ways of business to kind of like say, okay, well, listen, if I want people to take me seriously, I'm going to have to put some money behind what I'm doing?
I would say the corporate experience that I had prepared me, because when you have to walk into a room of GMs and you have to deliver, make sure that you have to give a return on investment. You're representing an entire company, and you're just one entity, and you have to make sure that company gets their return on investment through you.
Right.
So the pressure, I guess I just kind of got used to it.
Right.
And I just kind of translated it over into you know, using some of that mindset into this.
Right.
So I don't know.
Okay. So I'm thinking, and I want to make sure that I start to tell people this, what's on my mind in the exact moment.
You know what?
Go ahead.
All right, so I got to add on to that. So the preparation, like when you're dealing with management, you have to deal with like all sorts of, you got to be prepared for things to go wrong.
Right.
And with the way that I communicate with everybody, I kind of let them know like, hey, I'm not one of those janky people or anything like that.
Right.
This is what I have set up. I'm gonna offer you this much time. This will be the compensation that I can work with you with.
Right.
And are you cool with that?
Right.
And then most of the time, if you're up front right then, like, hey, this is what it is. I'm not gonna give you a runaround.
Right.
And you respect the fact that this is somebody that maybe has a kid at home. Somebody that maybe short $50 on their rent. And they're looking at my little bitty opportunity as that little inch.
Right.
So why would I have them come out and do something and then say, well, I can make a little money off of you, but I'm not going to give you anything. So I always say, well, here, let me just give you something just to say thank you.
Right.
Because you didn't have to. So
Facts.
That's the reason. That's the whole concept behind the compensation. Because it's not. Nobody's getting big bucks yet. You know what I'm saying? Yet.
Right.
Because we're gonna get there.
Right.
But for right now, you have to make everybody feel special.
Right.
Everybody has to feel. We live in an age right now where depression is so high, where we down each other for nothing. Just the race issues that we go through, where not even that, to where it gets so deep to where people want to buy. They don't want to buy from you just because you're black. Or you opened up a black restaurant. I don't want to go there because it may not be clean. Anticipating the failure. You know what I'm saying? So people, even with both of us trying to do things, people are anticipating you to fail.
Right.
And they're waiting for that moment for you to say, I gave up.
Right.
The fact that you keep going, the fact that you keep getting these shows, you got 89. You kept it going.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Same with me. Like, it's always going to be somebody to say, it's always going to be somebody to say, I don't want to hear it.
Right.
It's going to be some total strangers that's going to look at you and be like, tell me more.
Right.
And that total stranger is the reason that I keep going.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because this is not my first venture in production.
No, it's not.
This particular platform right here is not my first venture in production, right? And I can remember a time period where it was fresh, it was new, it was the thing I wanted to do more than anything in the world, right? But it comes to an end sometimes, because partnerships become they've worn their welcome. The idea is no longer fresh. It's no longer top priority, right? So you evolve, you change, right? So let's just say down the line, let's just say Just Call Me Prince, the comedy shows are not doing as well, and you almost, not that it's a knock, but you decline from show number 2. Show number 3 is back to 2 or 3 comics, and they're almost not feeling the compensation. They're not doing something, and so you say, okay, I'll give it another go. Show number 4 in 2021. Let's see how that does, because maybe it's an even thing. Maybe the odd show numbers are kind of off, and then the even show numbers do better, right? So let's just say that you get down to June 2021 and things are not going well. What does that look like moving forward with continuing the comedy and music shows? If you know, you're looking at the analytics, you're looking at the numbers, what people are bringing in, and you're saying, okay, well, I'm putting out way more
than what I'm getting
back. What does that look like?
That return on investment. So, that's a good question.
And the reason why I say that is because with this creative thing, and then again with Nas said no ideas original, and again, I know it's biblical, but that's the common reference that I use. No ideas original, there's nothing new under the sun. It's never what you do, but how it's done. Everybody can do the same idea, right? And it doesn't matter if I'm doing the idea, if you do the idea and you do it your way, that's your way, right? And so let's just say that somebody else comes out with comedy shows, right? And they do well. Does that mean that you stop, or does that mean that you just re-strategize and figure out a way to keep pushing it your way?
And see, I think what you just hit on was re-strategize. So if I keep doing these shows the same exact way, and it's not progressing, then that's my fault, because I didn't look at what went wrong.
Right.
I didn't try to make improvements because I didn't check myself and saying that I need to improve. Some people don't check themselves and say, well, this really isn't going right.
Right.
You know, there's some people that'll say, I'm gonna advertise, you know, and put out something, you know, in a few days, and the event's in like 2 days. I'm like, well, you actually need a lot more time for people to actually comprehend what you're doing, process what you're writing, look at it, plan to go, you know. So, I mean, it's just everybody has a perspective, but once they actually start getting their hands into it, you actually find out who's actually business savvy and who's not.
Right.
And I think it's very important to have a business approach to this, because everything can go haywire just like that.
Right.
But at the same time, with proper preparation and proper planning, it can come out looking the way you saw it.
Right.
And it's headaches behind it, but at the same time, what I'm trying to do is strategize so it does grow. So that way, when June comes around, I'm at the point to where I'm planning off of my profits from the last shows to the next shows.
Right.
It's not coming out of my pocket.
No doubt.
But the reason that I started, you know, my LLC was to, you know, structurize some of this to make it, you know, to where it could fit, you know, more, to where it wouldn't, you know, break me as much. You know, so I can at least, you know, get some of these business expenses. You know, I won't get into all that, but you know, it's a part of the strategy. You have to really, you know, strategize and know what you're getting into before you actually just say I'm gonna do it. Right. And so when it comes to June, by that time when June comes around, I would have, you know, assessed quite a bit to know if I'm gonna keep it going or not. And I'm pretty sure I'm gonna keep it going, because I've already been reaching out to some bigger comics like Pierre, that was on BAPS from he was on How to Be a Player. Craig Smith, that's in LA. He does he's with Def Jam Digital. So I've been reaching out, you know, and some of these guys are reaching out to me too, you know, interacting, and they actually, the crazy part is that I didn't realize when you create a platform, certain people will be looking for that platform.
Right.
And I didn't realize that until now.
Right.
So, June, I'm gonna just see how it goes, but I'm pretty sure I'm planning for this brand to grow a lot further than just 1-2 years.
Yeah. So most importantly, The last question I'll ask is, what's next?
What's next? After comedy, it's going to be a lot of music coming along. I am going to be doing, HR, so I'm going to be doing that, and then getting back to entertainment on the side. So there will be some breaks in between because, of course, you got life and responsibilities to take care of. But I want to get into fashion, and also that wine idea. I really, really think that I'm gonna come out with a wine.
Right.
That's one of my, slight passions when I got a little older was wine, and I think I've already gotten in contact with a few vendors for wine, and we're kind of looking into it. So that'll be a project I'll kind of ease into. Once I maybe probably like 2022, I'll start actually trying to build the wine brand.
Right.
So the sports analytics, we're trying to get that growing. And this is just, something that's on the side that could turn into something.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've learned that you can't put all your eggs in one basket, that you have to make sure that you maintain, which is how some people expire so quick because, like, especially in music, you'll see so many people, they'll spend all their money on studio time and all this stuff and all this, and they won't put out anything until maybe 4 or 5 years later. And it's just like, well, you took out so much of your personal life, and then you're banking on this one moment. But what did you do in between time to prepare you for that moment?
Right.
So, but that's a whole nother story. I mean, music is a crazy industry.
Yeah.
But I've met some good people, and through music and comedy.
Right.
But it all comes down to that preparation. So when June comes around, I have to say I'm gonna just embrace whatever happens at that time, because at that point it's my fault, and it's my doing whatever happens.
Right.
So if things are going bad, it's because I caused it to go that way.
Right.
If things are going good, it's because I caused it to go that way.
Right.
So that's how I see it. Like, whatever happens, I just got to accept it, and I have to adjust and make sure, things are going.
Right. Listen, man, I love this moment right here. I love daring to do the opposite. I love the risk that's involved with creating. And, even if you don't come from a family of that, I love the opportunity to try to think outside of the box and try to make a new way of life, right? Yeah. And so I want to say that I'm proud of you for venturing out.
I appreciate it.
I'm proud of you for trying, at least, because, where would you be if you sat with it and you're just like, you know what, it's not in my family, it doesn't run in my family, so I'm not even going to try.
I'll be sitting watching somebody else do it.
Yeah. And I'm just super appreciative that I know a creative that is trying. At least you can say, you know what, if all else fails, if the shows don't pan out, if it doesn't, wine doesn't pan out, at least I gave it a shot. Yeah. And I'm proud of you for doing that, man. I'm also grateful for you allowing me to be a part of your journey. And what I like to do on the podcast, man, is I like to give a token of my appreciation for you coming out. This is
I see your light shining.
of course. Listen, we're brothers by bond. This man actually brought me into the fold. Shout out to Kings Israel number 19, AF and AM.
Love y'all.
This is a black SVI T-shirt that I give to every creative that comes on the podcast. It's just an insignia to you from my company saying, hey, you know what? You are creative. You came on my podcast. We talked about your journey, and this is something I want to give you to take home to your crib and wear it. Nobody, listen, I sell T-shirts. I sell my T-shirts, and nobody in the city of Houston that has not been on this podcast has that T-shirt. And this is the 2020 edition, which is the exclusive What's Next podcast T-shirt that I give to every creative that comes on the podcast in 2020. Right. So 2021, we'll see what else I add. No problem, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yo, this is episode number 89 of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary Inc. This is a creative's story. I got my man here. We'll go back, way back. Kings of Israel, Booker T. Washington. Shout out to the class of 2003, the class of 2004. We love y'all, Booker T. Washington. They moved from 39 to 42nd and a half.
Yeah, I've been to the new campus. It's very condensed.
Listen, Houston, Texas. I do what I do for myself to prove that I could do it for others. Peace and blessings.
Valleys, no Pilates. More weight get you more wet. Not after crystal, I twist y'all with that. Cheers to the money guy, the Willie niggas who buy them bottles and then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. See you dog. 5 bottles, 1 kid. Why I need some drugs? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain. Get off that high ass hussy. This a private party. Been on my no breath on private party. You gon' be nice and naughty. These walls on Princess Artie. This the upper crust. Fuck is up. Over the coast. Yes, we did.